Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of JayWalkin podcast. I am your host, Jay. And one, I would say I appreciate everyone who's listening and taking the first step of listening to the JayWalkin podcast. Now, this podcast is all about, you know, mental wellness, nerd culture, and most importantly, real and deep conversations from the heart now, I'm pretty sure you're asking, who am I and why I'm listening to this guy, or what is this guy gonna come with? Well, I'll tell you, I'm just a regular guy who works in the mental health field, but also is a guy that grew up loving watching anime, playing video games, and on top of that, again, having those real deep conversations with not only just, my peers and just like my coworkers, but just anyone in general who is willing to like go through and listening on what is happening, not just necessarily around the world, but even what's happening within ourselves. So that's something you're going to be expecting from my podcast, is just hearing again, like my passions, which is again, like I stated, anime, freaking video games, but also just having those real deep conversations with just, what's going on in the world and just kind of having an open heart to heart conversation. Now, and also, you're going to be hearing me talking about things that is like with relationships, stress, or just like the daily life that I go through, because we're all human. We go through our daily lives and our daily struggles. So that's also going to be a part of this podcast, because I want to create a space for everyone to be a part of, just so we can come together as a community, not just in the nerd culture, but just like anyone who's passionate about something, whether it's fashion, music, movies, whatever that may be. I want everyone to be passionate about something. I want to create a space where everyone can literally feel comfortable to do so. And again, that's just basically who I am as a person. So that's something you're going to be going through on the JayWalkin podcast. Now, I started this because I want to start like a movement. I want to start something that everyone can listen to. Anyone can like watch on YouTube. Anyone can just go through and just see what's you expected on my podcast. What is that part of? Throughout any sort of journey and any walk we go through in life, we go through healing, laughing, reflecting, and also just sharing stories with each other. Because I believe personally that sharing stories and just sharing what our beliefs are and our interests and our hobbies to one another, we tend to become connected and one with another person. Now, I don't know if that's something you believe, but that is also something that I believe in, so to speak. So, again, just another personal background. No, like I said, Jay, I have many different interests and hobbies. And this is not my first podcast, believe it or not. I started a podcast like 2, 3 years ago, so to speak, and it was called the Perfect Storm Podcast, PSP. And I didn't go too far with the podcasting thing because, one, I didn't know what I was doing, and two, I was just recording it based off my phone and just scared, honestly, just to hit record and just record myself, whether it is in a video form or audio form. And I will publish it on SoundCloud. So if you have a SoundCloud, just type in the Perfect Storm Podcast. You will hear like my older episodes through my phone and just like headphones and just watching it on Zoom, so to speak. And it was pretty a cool thing to do. And I was just going through all the emotions and just trying to deal with, how to like do this podcast. But long story short, I started the podcast. I recorded a few episodes and it got a couple listens, and I told my friends at the time, like, hey, you should listen to it and just kind of keep promoting it, because I wanted everyone to listen to what I had to say. And it turned out good, but then at the same time, it was just one of those things where it was like a failed project. On one, like not enough listeners, but two, the most important one, I wasn't consistent with it. I didn't really believe in it because I was like, oh, I like video games, so I just want to play video games. So I started streaming. That's another thing. The YouTube channel that this is going to be on right now, you can go back in past videos. I literally have streaming content, I have video game content, and I just have a bunch of different posts that I have on my YouTube channel in regards of like video games in general. Those did wonderful numbers. I actually enjoyed and appreciated the time that I took for myself when it came to that. And honestly, it was a great time. It was a great time. However, my love for video games slowly just decreased over time, because even now, this project I want to start, and again, this movement I want to start, is kind of having my focus and my direction at this time, because Video games is great. It's been a part of my life for eons, so to speak. I use video games to get over a lot of things that happen in my life, whether it's depression, anxiety, or just didn't even know what the hell to do when it comes to my own life and just what I need to do at that time. And video games was a huge part of my life. Anime was a huge part of my life. So many learning lessons, so many life lessons, and so many things that it taught me that I wouldn't expect to do. Like it got me into more, reading more books. I was not the greatest in school when it comes to grammar or just anything with English. I always tell people, and I learned this from one of my coworkers, English is not my first language, but the way I present myself, shows a different flavor, compared to many other people. Because at the end of the day, we're all people. We have our own style and our own voice. So I'm just going to use mine because for so long, like I use my voice through video games to connect with other people, use anime to connect with other people, just to have a common interest and just having a good time with people who are related to me. However, I'm challenging myself now to have a voice in a different space that I'm, to be honest, like very, excited for, but also anxious about because I personally don't find myself speaking well to an audience or a community. However, I know my voice has its own flavor and uniqueness, and starting a podcast boosted me to become real with myself and just interacting with other people and interacting those on the internet because at the end of the day, you may not, meet someone like me. Like we all different, we all unique, but you'll hear a bunch of different, things when it comes to other podcasts or other items on the table. But we're not going to be focused on that because right now I want to focus on starting this movement, JayWalkin. The name is so significant for me right now because my old name, and it was kind of tied in with the podcast that I had previously, Perfect Storm podcast. J Storm was a name that I created at a time when I was like down and just sad and just kind of depressed, and I was needing something as an outlet, whether it's figuratively or creatively. So I created that name. It was inspired by a guy named Daystorm. Daystorm was the funniest guy on Vine, Instagram, and just I just love consuming his content. But he was doing it all. He was doing skits, music videos, doing music, and he was just a writer and he just helped other people, with their passions and hobbies. And back then I just got to thinking like, okay, I'm gonna start vlogging and just start producing stuff. And it wasn't just him, but I only focused on him because he had a range. He did so much for the community. And I just wanted to follow in that footstep. Now I did get into vlogging. You'll still see on this YouTube channel where I literally vlogged back in the day. And it was pretty exciting. I was happy with it. I love the content I produced. And I made so many memories with so many different people in my past. And it helped me grow as a person. Now, I'm in a place in my life right now where I'm creatively like drained with one thing, but the idea of just like speaking to people so real and authentic, no matter how I sound, someone would appreciate how I sound, and someone's going to appreciate that they can relate to someone. And that was like the drive that I wanted for myself to create a space for those who are similar to me, whether it's anime, video games, all the stuff that you're passionate about, music, comic books, for all things. Like I just want to incorporate a lot of things where people can just nerd out and just have a space to know like, okay, there's other people like me and I can do anything I want to do if I could put my mind to. And that's the one thing I always remember growing up because anime and again video games has such an impact on my life that even it showed in like my relationships with other people in my line of work, hell, with family. Like it had so much impact on me that I just want to kind of create a space where people like me, whether it's, a black nerd or just anyone in general, I want to give that space to someone because it felt passionate for me and I just want to create that for someone else. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to be a perfect journey or a perfect thing because as you can see, like I'm starting from the ground up, but that's okay because if you don't start something, you will never do it. So someone told me that and I was like, you know what? I'm just start a podcast regardless of how it looks. I just hope and pray that, it sounds great and the clarity from the microphone does work. So it's just one of those things, like, again, I'd rather just have right now. So, again, I did have a podcast before, and I know I divulged a lot of information for you, but the main part that I want to say is, like, why now? Why do I want to try now to do another podcast? Well, I'm motivated right now. Like, all my creative flow and juices are focused on this one project. And instead of just waiting around for the right equipment or the right timing, I need to start now. And I want to start now where I'm able to interact with you guys and just have you listen to me. And most importantly, just start a movement. I want to start something that's so creative and powerful, not just with just as a black nerd, because I am a black nerd, and there's a lot of things in our culture that can, like, make you feel isolated, but I want to make it feel like everyone's welcome, and I just want that for people in this day and age, and that's why I want to start now. And it's so interesting how life comes around, because I went through a lot of shit these past few months, and honestly, it made me inspire to just speak and just use my voice, because I'm at a place right now where I'm just so done with the BS. I'm just so done not using my voice. I want to do something and create space for so many people so they can interact with me and just interact with other people and even have connections that they never thought they would have, because I go to plenty conventions and hopefully I have so many guests coming onto this podcast, but they will even tell you, like, they are so invested in just this culture and this vibe because everyone's so loving and appreciating. And that's something I always want to have, not only just as a people, but just like in this community where everyone can just be who they are, whether it's a nerd, a fashion sense person, a video game person, whatever it can be, a movie connoisseur, like a food critic, like, whatever it could be, you feel me? But it's just one of those things where I want to create that space for everyone. Now, it's coming from a perspective of me, obviously a black nerd in today's culture and just the culture itself, but that doesn't stop anyone to join. I want you to be a part of this walk and part of this journey. Now, what do you want to see in the next episodes? But what should you expect for future episodes? Again, I'm gonna mix a little bit of anime and just like my passions with mental health, because mental health is such a strong component that's so ignored by our culture, and that people use these outlets, whether it's, again, like I said, movies, video games, anime, as a way to kind of just get away from reality and just create their own world. And sometimes creating that space in our own world can be difficult. So that's why, again, I want to use this podcast and this channel to funnel those who just feel unseen or just feel unheard, and just have a space just to interact and engage with those similar to them. And if you're even completely different or just interested in, like, what I'm saying and what I'm talking about, please be more than welcome to join. And I would very much appreciate that. So that's what you should expect in the next few episodes, because I'm gonna just have it as a title and just have it, in the description. So you're not gonna know, actually, you will know what to expect, because one, I'm telling you, and two, we're gonna talk about it in the next episode when it comes to, again, anime and just kind of like talking about how does it correlate with mental health. And it's coming from perspective of me, but my future guest is gonna come from the perspective of them. Now, like I said, this is not going to be a perfect thing. I want to keep upgrading. I want to just have this passion to do it, because the one thing I always say, you may not have everything, but if you have the passion, you do it. You feel me? So that's why I'm just going to start this and just see what happens and see what takes me. Because, like I said, with the JayWalkin podcast, all we need to do is take one step at a time through healing, laughing, and reflecting, you know? So I appreciate you guys for listening and watching the podcast. And I just want to say, like, hopefully you take a walk with me on this journey, because whether you feel alone or not, just know Jay is always here, and we're just going to keep walking. So until then, just keep doing that. Keep walking, take one step at a time. And most importantly, be positive, be happy, be you. Take care. Thank you for listening to the JayWalkin podcast.